Yo, what's good? What's good? Welcome to the Epic Entertainment Critics. I am Antoine,
And I'm still James.
and we're gonna do a movie review. We're gonna talk about Stranger Things, and we're gonna talk a little bit about Spider Man. But before I do that, got intro. All right, excuse me. All right, we're back. So, thanks for checking out the podcast, and yeah, I did it. I went to see that movie I was telling you about. I take it you didn't, but I
No.
saw Crawl. Um, was it was actually was pretty good, man. It was like a perfect summer, nail biter, grab the edge of the seat or whatever movie that I think people needed. It's like it came out at a perfect time. July is a perfect time for a movie like this. So yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and knock out this movie review, and then we're gonna talk some Stranger Things, and then we are going to hopefully I'm going to try to finish up my our Spider-Man rankings. So you already know your rankings. You don't need to find your book or whatever, right? I mean, you
I'm
ain't.
good.
Yeah. I wrote them down, so I'm good too. All right, so Crawl just came out this weekend. Was a movie about. It actually was kind of self-explanatory. Somebody got trapped in their house during a hurricane. This is in Florida, so it was a hurricane in Florida, which happens often, and um, they became trapped in their house, and they was attacked by alligators. Now you say, how? How? I know that's what you're thinking.
That's the first question. Yeah.
Well, they had a good explanation. Um, and I don't want to give away everything, but I guess the people deserve an explanation of how this came to be. Well, okay, so they lived in one of these old houses, and I guess these old houses had like a drain pipe that goes to the river for something, something like it was like a pipe that goes to the river for some reason, and that's how they got it in the basement.
All
You
right.
okay?
All right.
Well, I mean, and then see the thing is, it was like it's a big house, a big old house, and it's like a real big basement. So when they went, when he go down there, he was going down there to fix something, didn't know it was a alligator down there, so he was just like creeping around down there, and he's like, "What the fuck? Hold up!" It was kind of one of them things. So
Right.
that's kind of like how it kicked off for us, how they got in this situation, because that is a it was a tough sell for me when I first heard it. Like, what the. Like, okay, why don't you just leave? Why, what I'm saying, go out the door. So, of course, the alligator had the stairs blocked. Like, you ain't going this way. So okay, that was it was mainly about it was two characters. It was a dad and his daughter. I can't even remember the actor's name. I know the dad name was his name is Barry Pepper. You might have seen him in some such classics as Battlefield Earth and other movies. But that was the dad, and he had a daughter. She was like, you know what? I don't even want to say she was like a swim. Uh, she was a swimmer. I was like, and I started thinking about, damn, that kind of works with the plot, but whatever. She was like a a competitive swimmer. Like he was always pushing her to you could do it, sweetheart. So he had like a
Hmm.
couple kids. He had two daughters and a wife, and they was divorced, and so he was selling the house. So he was fixing the house up so he could sell it or whatever. So that's how he found himself in this situation where he couldn't get out. And she was looking for him, and she came to, as you see on the trailer, she came to try to find him, and it's like he ain't answering his phone, da da da, because he was stuck in the basement because the alligator was about to eat his ass. Who would believe that? You know what I'm saying? Like you was like, look, the reason why I stood you up because I was stuck in the basement because the alligator was gonna eat me. They would dump you right there. So, so where I say this movie, it was pretty good because it knew what it was. It was just, I guess I don't want to call it a horror movie, but like a survival. Well, what movie? You know what I'm talking about? Where I guess kind of like Anaconda or something, where an animal survival movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Do they got a name for that?
I don't know if they do. Like, it's because it's not really a monster movie, but they
Right,
kind of treat it like one.
right. Because it's not totally a monster, but it's something that's a real threat. You know, it's
Right,
an animal. So an animal that's out of its element will become will animal in your environment become a huge threat. So so it was like it was one of it was by the it wasn't by the books. It was actually the actor was pretty good. Like the girl, the female lead in the movie was she seemed like she was like real like a strong girl, but not not a fake feminist strong female. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Where it was
Yeah,
just like I need to do this to survive, not I'm just got superpowers. You know what I'm saying? She
right.
wasn't right. She wasn't doing everything right. She was messing up, but she was just fighting her way out of those situations. You know what I'm saying? Um, but it was yeah. So it was kind of entertaining because I'm gonna tell you like this: the way they introduced the alligator was out of nowhere, dude. like
What they
like
do?
she's like she's going down there trying to find her dad, and she like where you at? So she like hey what happened? And he's so messed up he couldn't talk. So she trying to like get him out of there, and so she don't know his alligator down there. So she like, what the fuck? He got like a bite mark. What the hell? So she trying to drag him out to get him out, and the elevator's just like bust through where the stairs was at. No, you think you're going this way? Hell to the no. So
So he just busts through the stairs. So he busts through the stairs like, here's Johnny.
yeah, right. And it was so damn big, which I'm like, it's a little unbelievable that those big ass alligators was in a house though, because they was real big, and how could you not hear that thing back there? But it was dark too. They had like an old house with like a crawl space basement. It was like one of them creepy ass basements that I wouldn't want to be in at all. So
It's one of the places they always be going down into in the horror movies.
yeah, exactly. It's one of them. So the dog wouldn't go down there. The dog was smart. The dog was looking down there and started barking, and she's like, "Is he down there?" He's like, "Yeah, but I ain't going down there." It's like the
Hey,
basement
look,
dog. I mean, the
I
animal
can,
got instinct.
right. Like, that's my thing. It's like, if the dog won't go, maybe you shouldn't.
Exactly. Exactly. And they kind of said something like that. She kind of like was saying like, "Do I got to go down there?" The dog kind of looked like, "I ain't going." But yeah, it was like kind of a survival movie where it was pretty. It was good because it was like it was like a bottle film because it was all in this like pretty much in his house, and then they had to try to get to the cell phone to call for help, and not to mention they showed in the trailer the authorities said, hey, once that tidal wave hit and once that levee break and we ain't gonna be able to come for you, so get your ass out now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was kind of like they on their own. They couldn't get no help. It was kind of cool, man. Where you thought it was just one, and I guess that might be a spoiler, but it was a lot. It was more than one alligator. Where I'm okay, they had the scene where these, when they add characters to the movie where they just gonna die.
Yeah.
They came in the middle. They was assholes. They was basically they had looters, and they try to tell them, hey, don't come this way, don't come this way. They're like, oh shit, this stuff's to steal. You know what I'm saying? So you can imagine how they got
Oh shit.
it. But no, but it was still some fun stuff in there. Like I said, all the alligator attacks, it looked real. Um, and then they have like actually have body horror. I would say body horror because once they get a hold of your ass, you got to try to get loose, and people was getting fucked up basically, and people was getting toe up, and it was like they had to go on living. So it wasn't just like they eat you and then you don't see them no more. No, they eat you and then you see the aftermath of those wounds. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of cringy just looking at was somebody having to deal with broken legs and bones sticking out of skin and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying?
I get it.
So, so that those are all good. And like I said, I actually like the characters because they were strong characters that didn't feel fake. Um, the female did a good job. Barry Pepper did a good job as the dad. So it was one thing though that I really did not like, and I noticed as the movie went on. So your main character, the female, I'm sorry for not knowing her name. I'm sorry. I should have looked it up, but she was getting hurt, right? She was getting hurt. She was getting bit by the alligator like a couple times. As the movie progressed, those wounds started to disappear. Where, okay, at one point, an alligator bit on her leg, bit her arm. Like she was trying to get this gun, and alligator, you know what? And I don't want to keep. I'm kind of spoiling it, but the mother bit her arm, and she like shot it through the mouth or whatever. But that mother didn't let go for a while, so it had her arm for a good little while before she got it to let go by shooting it. And so you thinking like, man, her arm probably about to fall off. Next scene, I don't even see a wound. I was like, wait a minute, what happened to the thing on the arm? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, where's the continuity, man? Like,
yeah, they messed up on that. That's the only thing I say they messed up on. I think they tried to say her wounds were above where her clothes were at. So, because they showed like a little blood dripping down, I was like, is that supposed to be? No, that alligator down to bit her arm off. But that was my only issue. And then also her leg was bit, and if it looked real bad at first. And later on in the movie, while she trying to, she escaping, she jumping and she running and she swimming, and I'm like, what happened to that wound? Because that wound was so bad, her leg was like, fucked up. So it's just the inconsistency on the main character wounds. Like you decided to hurt the main character to slow them down, but later on in the movie, it has no effect on them. That is a problem they have on these movies a lot. And you got to stay consistent. They stay consistent with the dad because he fucked his leg up and his arm up, and in the whole movie he could barely move. So they stay consistent with him. But
especially with these kinds of movies, what you see a lot of times, like they'll plan these great shots, and they'll do everything they can to get them in the movie, and then it's like, okay, that's cool, but in this next thing we got them running jumping. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so they'll be running and jumping.
Yeah, they need to work that out in post or just what I'm saying. They need to sit down like, okay, we need to stay consistent. So at this scene, we're gonna have him get his leg hurt. So this scene, we can't have him running. Or if we do, we got to be limping, extremely limping. We got to find a way to get him from A to B using the rules that we set up.
Yeah.
But I mean, it wasn't too far. It was just the fact that she had two wounds that should have slowed her down tremendously, and then she, for the plot sake of the movie, she kept going real, like full strength on everything. And I was like, oh, that's not consistent. But, other than that, it was still a fun movie where, these animals get real relentless where you think they about to get saved, and then this mug busts out like it's got a fucking mind of his own. Like it's like, you remember what was that shark movie? Was that 47 Meters Down? Or what was the one where the lady went surfing? It might have been.
I think that was 47 Meters Down.
Because it was two of them. It was one where they was in the cage and the cage got stuck. And then another one where the lady went surfing and she got like stuck on a rock or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
The one with when the lady got stuck on a rock for surfing or whatever, that was an okay movie. This is kind of like in the same vein of this movie, but that movie, that shark must have been the smartest fucking shark ever. Like things it was doing, it was like it knew to do things. Like, okay, these things ain't got to tell us; they just go on instinct. You know, it get to that point where you be like, okay, unless this thing is want to take revenge on this person, then it shouldn't always pop up when it's, you know what I'm saying? It's like, whoo, we're safe. Not yet, bitch. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? Because you just brought something up. What was that movie? Was that Don't Breathe with when they broke into the blind dude's
Oh,
house?
yeah. I like that movie.
I feel like they treat a lot of these animal attack movies like that. Like you stepped into the wrong dude's house, and now he's just coming after you.
Which, you know what? And that's
Yeah.
cool.
But it's like they don't treat it like it's instinctual. It's like, no, I'm gonna fuck these. I'm gonna fuck them up.
Right, because
Like,
things that they do, you have to really think about and plan out before you do. And animals don't go like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, like,
yeah.
you know, it's like, wait a minute, how the fuck is this thing smart enough to know to ambush her, to wait to do that? No, it's not doing it. It's just like if it see blood in the water, it's gonna go for it. You know what I'm saying? That's what it do. But yeah, but on the whole, it was good, man. It was a fun movie. It's like a good nail biter because of the because of the animals, because you didn't know where that thing was gonna pop out next. So they followed a couple of tropes, but that was fine because I feel like this movie knew what it was. It didn't try to it didn't try to say nothing else. But hey, these people are in danger and they need to survive. That was basically the movie. You know what I'm saying? And it was a good little father-daughter relationship, though.
Right. Simple's what works, though. Like I think that's one of the big takeaways that some of these, high-end movie productions really need to start figuring out. It's like, hey, if you just keep it simple, don't try to complicate things, don't try to invent stuff just for the sake of a certain shot or whatever. It's like,
right,
get a good plot, shoot it well, good movie.
Yeah, and so like I said, it was a good summer. It was a good summer movie. Watching it wasn't like campy. I was kind of expecting campy though. That was surprisingly. I was
mean, that's the
expecting.
reason I didn't see it.
Right, it
I was
wasn't
sure it was
campy,
going to
dude.
be
It
campy.
actually was serious. It actually took it serious. Like, what if you got trapped in a basement with an alligator down there? Like, it sounds ridiculous, but what would you do? And I was and I would say they was trapped because you would think, well, alligators just eat them. But it was like I said, it was a huge basement. And it was sections of the basement the alligator couldn't get to. It's kind of like that. So anyway, I'm gonna give it my rating, man. I give this movie. It was a dope. I give it a dope because, like I said, it knew what it was. It was enjoyable because it knew what it was, and it didn't go beyond what it should have been. They didn't try to give you no big drama story with, the dad and daughter had a drama moments because they thought they was gonna die. That was normal.
Right.
But other than that, they didn't try to do all this extra stuff. The action was real good. The CGI was good. The alligators look real. I mean, if you look hard enough, you might say, "Oh, they don't look real," but they look real enough for me. So, the alligators look real. It was all believable, and and it was a good action movie. It was just good fun. So, for that, I give it a dope. So that is
Might
my
have to go see
review.
it then.
Yeah, it's worth seeing, dude. Especially it's like a good date movie where you can take somebody and then of course they're gonna be grabbing on you because it's kind of scary. The first scene with this damn alligator jumped out, I jumped because you don't know when it's coming. They get you on that jump scare. You have no idea when it's about to come because it's not a moment where you feel like, how like some movies set up that shit.
Right.
They didn't set that up. It just happened. It just be like if you was just doing something and the alligator just popped out, and you'd be like, "What the fuck?" You know what I'm saying? So, it was good, man. We can move on to our our next discussion, which would be, oh, here it is. Whoops. Which would be Stranger Things. Stranger Things season 3. Stranger Things season 3. I can move that over. That's cool. Just came out 4th of July, actually. First 2 seasons. Oh, hold on a second. Alrighty. Okay, so the first 2 seasons, they came out, I guess, the past 2 years. Did you enjoy the first 2 seasons of this
I
series?
did. I really did. Yeah.
Yeah. To anybody who don't know what this is, it's more. It's like it's a throwback. It's made to pay homage to those '80s kid movies, where it's like Goonies, Monster Squad, movies like that, where the kids were the ones that knew everything, and adults was just they didn't know shit. It's like the kids have to save the town, while the adults were oblivious to what was going on.
Right.
So it's a couple movies like that come out like that. I used to love movies like that because they're good adventure movies. The '80s
Yeah.
were big for this, and this is kind of like you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Salute to that or whatever. And I hope those pizza rolls good. But anyway, but anyway, uh, it was real good though, man. I really like this season. I think I still like season 1 the best, but this was still a real good season, man. Now, of course, it started from a point of view of the kids. They also have adults in the series. They also have adults in the series, but it's more from the point of view of the kids.
Yeah.
So our main character will be 11. That was the
Yeah.
girl from the season 1 that everybody know that she got like psychic powers, or she got some kind of.
I mean,
Did they do that to her, or did she already have those powers?
I think they did. Technically, they did that to her because you remember they were talking about her mother was part of MK Ultra while she was pregnant. So I
Uh,
think that's how 11 got her powers. So like she got that in the womb from like the LSD and all the other stuff they were doing. So
that's kind of how they did. I don't know if you remember this movie called. Is that called Scanners? I
yeah,
think where they found out where they had all these powers. Excuse me, they had these little mental powers, but they was finding out that it came from the doctor was injecting pregnant women with this drug or something, and then when they had the babies, they all came out with these. Well, maybe not all of them, but some of them came out with powers or whatever. Anyway,
right.
um, which is was like a big plot in part 2, I believe. Um, but we got all these other kids, and that was kind of like the main plot of it. These kids are, um, they in this town. Oh, in Hawkins, Indiana, and they all somehow. How did they run? Oh, they found 11. I said, how did they all get involved anyway? I had to think about that.
Because yeah, they found 11 while they were looking for what's his name, Will,
Okay,
after he
yeah,
went missing.
that's right. That's right. So most people know all the plot where they it's like this other dimension. 11 got this her psychic connection or something to this other dimension, whatever. But
Mm.
something came out. I believe that's how they that was the whole plot. So
Yeah,
in this one, the gang's all back together. They all living their life. They're a little older. They probably like freshmen in high school now, because originally they was kind of like 10 to 12 or whatever. They was like middle school originally.
yeah.
Now they kind of like freshmen in high school. They probably like 8th grade. They're a little older. So do you like the relationship between Elle and Mike? It was just funny.
You know what?
I knew they was supposed to like, because he always liked her from the first one or
Yeah,
whatever. But Mike looked like a little girl. Like
Yeah.
his hair, his hair is like so ridiculous. And like, dude, now that you're getting older, maybe you ought to do something with that hair.
Well, 'cause, like, I'm not gonna lie, it's a weird look.
Somebody already pointed out he looks like, I don't know if you knew this comedian from the 80s called Emo Phillips.
Yes. Oh my god.
So I was like, dude, he looked just like Emo Phillips.
Oh god.
Maybe that was a shout out to him or something because he looked just like the dude. When I looked at a picture of Emo Phillips and a picture of Mike, I'm like, oh my god, they got the same freaking haircut, the same complexion, the same big eyes. Like
Oh
that
man.
might be why they cast him. Come think
Crack
about
the code.
it. Yeah. So we, now the gang is all, chilling because they feel like it's over. So they just growing up being regular kids.
Right.
And which we got Billy, which is one of the bullies from the season 2. He's still living his life. He's a big brother to one of the gang, Max, the girl. Man, I thought Max was a closet lesbian for a minute, man. The way that she kept on like, hey, forget boys, come with me, because 11 was always in the lab, so she never experienced anything. So now she's experiencing stuff. They taking her shopping and all that. And the way Max was just hating, I was like, do she want her for herself? Because the girlfriend fun got to the point where I thought she was gonna be like, ew, kissing boys is gross. You should try kissing girls or something. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm like, okay, I know she's supposed to date. Damn it, what's the black kid name?
Lucas.
Yeah, I know she's supposed to be dating Lucas, but I didn't see no romance there. I felt like they just put them together just to put them together, but it wasn't no romance there. They just kind of, and they, you know what, and I'm not trying to, they kind of put Lucas to a real background supporting character because they gave him no arc, he just there to say something extra. I mean, I'm telling you, when you watch it, he felt more of the gang. He had more of a purpose in the first 2 seasons. When you finish watching this season, he's
Max's boyfriend.
Right, but not just that. He has no big. I know it's a lot of characters to balance out too, so you can't really give him that much.
Everybody else has an arc though.
Yeah,
like literally every other character has an arc except him.
I say Will didn't really do too much either. Like
Will's whole thing is still, he's still riding on the trauma train.
I know. I mean, he had, somewhat of a little character, but he didn't. Like Lucas and Will kind of got pushed to the background a little bit. I really like Dustin. Him and what's the guy name that he's with?
Steve.
Yeah, Dustin and Steve. They actually funny. Dustin actually he just got that personality that, okay, I think he can survive on it. Like if this was just only his movie, he'll be cool or whatever. You know what I'm saying? He got charisma.
He's the only one I've actually seen outside of Stranger Things so far. Like,
was he in something else?
Well, no, like he's been doing like commercials and stuff since the first season took off.
Yeah,
he's got a really notable energy and like just his character as the actor is like
So the way they did it, they kind of broke up the characters and they put them in different situations instead of, because there's a lot of characters. I guess that's a smart thing to do, because if you had all of them together, there's no way you can develop. You can't just focus on one because there's too many of them all at once. So they kind of broke them into like 3 groups. So how'd you feel about that?
At first I was okay with it. I will say the only thing that I really had any problem with, because I really like you said, like I really love the stuff with Dustin and Steve. Like that whole dynamic worked really well for me.
Yeah, they play off each other well.
Yeah, but like Nancy and Jonathan, I can't stand their characters in the season.
Yeah. So I mean, she's like Lois Lane, I guess. Got to get to the bottom of the story. And then plus this is in the 80s, or where she work at a newspaper, and they like, uh, how about fixing my sandwich right before you try to work a story? You know, they want the women to be secretaries, not reporters.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so I mean, I thought they was okay. They do seem like a weird couple because what's the guy name? Nancy.
Jonathan.
Yeah, he still seemed real weird to me.
Yeah.
Like when they got together, if you remember on the first season, she found out he was taking pictures for her without her knowledge.
Yep.
I don't see how I can let that ride. That's that. It was one point. It was one point where he was taking pictures, and he looked over and saw her over there and took a couple pictures. He kept taking pictures. So at that point, you becoming a creeper.
Or when he was taking pictures of in the window while she was getting undressed.
Oh, he did. Yeah. See, I was gonna say at some point he had somewhat of an out because he was taking pictures, and then he just happened to turn his camera, and then they was there. No,
right.
You kept taking pictures. You stayed there, and as far as I know, you might start masturbating or something with your sick ass. So he just still seemed like a real weirdo. I never got with them all getting together. But it is what it is. So they broke them up to 3 groups. And so I was like, okay, the first couple episodes were kind of just developing everybody, seeing where everybody was at. And that's why it was kind of, I'm going to tell you like this, it really picks up after 4. All the stuff was going on with, what they call it, the mind flare. All that stuff, that all picks up after 4. Before, like 1, 2, and 3, it's more development. And it's okay, but I was really waiting on what's going to happen with this story. So when things really started to kick off was 4. And then you finally got to look at this thing. And, it's pretty gross. It was to a point where I was like, okay, these are kids. How do you expect them to fight this thing? You know what I'm saying? They ain't the Ghostbusters, goddammit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying? When they finally showed this thing, I was like, okay, this might be just a bit too much. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what they expect the kids to do with this thing.
Because I'm looking at this thing, and from the jump, like they set this thing up as this Lovecraftian horror, and I'm like, surely, like by the time it gets to the point where the kids have to do something, they're gonna show that it's like not quite what it looks like. No, it's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah,
it's utterly terrifying to behold.
I know it just felt like I felt like it was a bit too much where you have you got kids in this situation.
Right.
I don't see how you get out, but you got 11.
Well, like, because even like when the Demogorgon was kicking about, it's like it's flesh and blood. You can cut its foot off, you can beat it to death. Like it was something that could be handled.
Yeah.
But like with this thing, it's like you're not gonna beat this thing into submission. You're not gonna,
Right. You got to find another way to beat it, not just with force, because it's not. You can't physically beat it. There's something else you got to do. And then you got 11, which is they set up a badass scene though, where she was tossing it around and shit. So that's your only line of defense is a little 12-year-old girl. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
So I mean, I thought it was good, but I also thought the threat was just a little too high for just these kids to deal with. That was kind of like my thoughts.
Yeah.
I was like, man, y'all ain't got no proton packs. Y'all ain't got no machine guns. Y'all are not the X-Men. How the hell y'all gonna fight this thing? Is because it kept getting bigger. Because they had a thing where basically once it absorbed people, the people, it kind of grows from absorbing people or some shit.
It basically pulled the prototype.
But go ahead, say what?
It basically pulled the prototype. I don't know if you ever played that game. But basically,
no, I haven't, but I feel you.
yeah, it basically just collects biomass from organic life.
Right.
So it
So
basically pulps any animal or human that comes near and just.
right, and I'm looking like, okay, so the threat is getting huge, and these little kids, how we gonna get, how we gonna solve that? But it does, it has a way to, to wrap up, and I thought it was pretty good. I really like, when everybody got back together. It was kind of a moment. They kind of tug at your heartstrings a little bit with some parts of this, and then you get some backstory with some of the characters. And I don't want to talk about everything, but it's like you get a little backstory of why this character is the way they are,
Yeah.
and it kind of, and it was like, I don't know, man. It was a moment at the end of the last episode. I felt some emotion for this character, which I hated this guy. Like,
Hey, look, I think like that was like probably like when they were outlining what they wanted this season to be. It's like, okay, we have to make people feel something for this right here. Okay, I know everybody hates him.
I know,
but we will make you feel something for him by the end.
Yeah, and they did shit because I hated his ass of season 2, and it is, and the way they did it, and it was good. It was real good, man. That's why I was like, okay, they still know what they doing. That's why I'm like, first I thought, okay, 3 seasons is I don't want to see no more. Now I'm looking like I wouldn't mind seeing another season, but my thoughts is, they got to be older though. I can't.
Yeah.
This is the thing. How many times is this going to keep happening to the same people? It's other people in this town. You mean tell me nobody going to get wise except the same people just going to get wise to what's going on or whatever? Now,
like not only that, but like also the people dealing with it aren't good at keeping it on lock.
Right, I know, because they normal people. They not. Are you talking about the facility, or are you talking about the kids?
I'm talking about the kids. Like,
right, yeah, right. Because they normal people. They don't know how to get sworn to secrecy. Is like, damn, I just say the word, I'm gonna tell somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you what. So, I guess the way they do it, they have somebody else come in and try to, which brings me to the villains. The Russians were straight out of a comic book. Like, the main antagonists were the Russians, and they just was like the most stereotypical Russians that you ever want to meet. I was like, okay, maybe that was intentional.
What was the line that when Dustin and Steve were looking for Russians? How do I know if I found a Russian? Look for someone blonde, blue-eyed who never smiles. That was pretty much what all the Russians in this were.
So yeah, and they even had a character that was pretty much was the Terminator. Like,
yeah,
I thought that they was gonna find like a robot body under him or something once they got rid of him. I was like, well, is he gonna come out the rubble as a robot, as a robot skeleton?
Nah, tell you what, they gonna zoom in on. They should have zoomed in on some rubble at the very end, just before the last episode wrapped, and have that hand.
But no, I mean that was some cliche stuff, but I think a lot of that was intentional. So that's one thing where you kind of give passes to the show for doing cliche stuff, because this is intentional, because we're just trying to give a shout out to those movies. So he's like, okay, I'll give you that, but was it really like, was it kind of lazy? But it was still fun though, man. The whole thing was fun. I feel like I like these characters. I wouldn't mind seeing them doing something else. It seemed like they stay on this same subject, like this same thing. Yeah. That's the thing with sequels. Once you got something good that worked, you stay on it, but it's like the same shit. I'm like, y'all still keep like, okay, the second season, you're supposed to close the portal. Second movie, you close the portal, and you think it's over. Oh, it didn't. We just left a little piece out of there. Oh, now the Russians are trying to open up the portals. Like, okay. It's getting to, I'm like, all right, it's getting a little monotonous, but I mean, it's cool.
Like, because also, like, if they do go, like, if we're going forward and we get a season 4, well, it can't just be somebody else came to town and opened another
I
portal.
know, and then the same kids gotta no. If they do season 4, they gotta be like older. They gotta do it like It or something,
Yeah.
where the older versions of them or need to come back together for something. You
Right,
know,
because I feel like the way I would do it is like for season 4, come back. They've spent their lives trying to figure out how to get in there and take out the mind flayer for real.
right?
Yeah,
I mean,
like it has to be something like that to me.
I'm just thinking like I'm just thinking like you got to show me something different. You know,
Yeah,
it was fun for the first 3 seasons, but it also was the same thing over and over and over. You know what I'm saying?
because the
So
last thing you need is for this to become a CW show.
yeah, and you know, it was fun working with the kids, but they getting older. You need to let them move on and get something else. And then I say have them come to Hawkins now. Because all
Yeah,
of them will be about 40s. All of them be
yeah,
about 40. So come to Hawkins in 2000 because they try to hit your nostalgia with all the 80 tropes, all the 80s stuff. The little 80s
yeah.
video games and the
The
80s
arcade.
references,
And,
all the songs. Like they got a new 80s songs like every 10 minutes. It's cool.
yeah,
Then they went to the Back to the Future movie. Like okay. So I mean, it was fun, but it was like okay, enough. 3 seasons
right.
of reference to the 80s is cool. Now y'all can go ahead and
Like, 'cause
jump
also,
to
no, I get it. You're in the '80s. Good job.
right. I mean that's what's
Not what year it is.
right. But see that's the thing. That's the thing about studios. They don't know how to stop. When they got something that work, they beat it to death till you hate it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of saying like, hey, we're gonna give you that and let's move on to the next thing. Nope. We just keep on giving you that. Until you say, no more of that. I don't want no more. You know?
Right,
Even like stuff that tastes good, if you eat too much of it, you be like, ugh, I can't eat no more.
right. You
uh,
know, it is what it is.
so yeah, like I said, season 4, I'm looking forward to, but I hope they do something different as to make them older or something, or maybe new characters. I mean, I know a lot of people don't want new characters, but
New characters, or maybe just take it out of Hawkins.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm not gonna spoil anything. Everybody didn't make it, and I'm not gonna say who or what. But they kind of left a little leeway to bring some people back, and that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna spoil what happened, but they left a little leeway at the end for somebody to
right.
come back. But everybody didn't make it. Uh, and they gave a stinger, so I think pretty sure it's gonna be a season 4.
Yeah,
So be ready. So that is our review. Stranger Things 3. Um, it's good, man. Go. Oh, I guess I'll give it a. I guess I'll give it a rating. I'm gonna give it a dope, man. It was dope. It wasn't better than season 1. Season 1 was epic, but this one I gave a dope because it was actually real good. Um, I kind of like Elle, the fact that she's using her powers more, not she ain't just she know how to use her powers better, which is earned because this is the 3rd season.
right.
So I'm like, okay, I respect it. So things like that I really like. And I'm seeing a clear progression of characters. Like everybody getting older and more mature. And not just that, they hit their arc and they not going back to what they was. They taking their life to the next step. That was the problem with the Marvel Netflix shows, man. They did that with Punisher. They did that with Jessica Jones. They kept putting people back where they was after they arc. You can't do that.
And not only that, but like repeating the arc and like how many times do you have like how many times does someone have to learn to let people in?
Right. Well, that's the
You
thing.
know,
You go through a
stuff like
whole
that.
season of them learning this, so now you're ready to move on to the next thing, and they put you right back where they was just so they can have another season. Like that's insulting.
Yeah.
Because I invested a lot of time watching this shit, and I went with them on this ride, and you just took me right back where I was. No, that's insulting. So they didn't do that. Their characters had a good arc, and they are actually progressing as people. So it was good, man. I like it, man. What you
Yeah.
give it?
I'm gonna give it a dope. It was a solid season, especially for it being a season three. And like I think one of the things I really liked about it was like watching Elle become a character.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than just a plot device.
Right.
And so like because we saw the start of that in season two, but like in this one, like she's really coming into herself. She's like figuring out how she feels about the stuff that's going on around her and how she feels about being the person that can handle it. And she's
Yeah.
really stepped up to that. So I've really enjoyed watching her progression in this past season and
Yeah.
watching, like the gang, you know, getting their stuff together. So
Right. I know. All these kids are amazing actors. I would love to see them like in future movies and shows. Every single one of them, like none of them are like okay, this kid sucks. All of them good actors, man. All of them got their own little personality that I like. So that's why I was like, this is actually real good. That's why I was like, I would like to see a lot of them get like some spin-off stuff, especially like Dustin and excuse me, Elle. Like I would like Elle, she can lead a movie like as her what's her name? Millie Bobby
Millie
Brown.
Bobby Brown, yeah.
I kind of wondered if it had anything to do with Bobby Brown. I like the word they named when they gave it. Anyway, that's just too much of a coincidence to me. So anyway, yeah, I like to see all these kids and like other stuff because they all amazing actors. So that is our review for Stranger Things season 3. I am going to wrap up. Tomorrow we're going to try to do the Spider-Man. We're going to do our part 2 to the Spider-Man ranked movies, and we might have time. No promises. Might have time to get the villains in there. But as of right now, man, we're gonna sign off. We just kind of had to get those out, and like I said, tomorrow we'll try to get a stream up. So we out of here.
Peace.
All right.